I'm just going to introduce Objective 5. I first of all want to say that Objective 5 has a cluster of a number of tasks, and we're going to go into all but one of them tomorrow morning. The overarching goal of Objective 5 is to use the authoritative and robust estimates of organic carbon accumulation and greenhouse gases fluxes to inform policy and practice tools to incentivize the use of wetlands as nature-based climate solutions for the multiple benefits. And in the original writing of the grant, we had government people assigned for each one of the 5 different opportunities that we identified. Today, I want to introduce you to one of them, which for technical reasons is 5.4. And that was one that we wanted to look at human behavior, the socioeconomic analysis of why people make the decisions that they do on the land. And so it is a privilege for me, and I have to acknowledge Guillaume's incredible influence on how this network has shaped by providing support for 2 of the extension projects. And he is Senior Policy Advisor for the Canadian Wildlife Service with Environment and Climate Change Canada. And so I'm going to ask Guillaume to speak to the rest of the slides.
Thank you, Aruna. Do you have my slides, so I need to share mine? I'm not sure anymore.
I got them right here. Go for it.
Yes. All right. So I'll just quickly present on the Nature Smart Climate Solution Funds for people that don't know, and also discuss a bit the science funding that we've been doing and how it fits with the projects that you'll hear about next from John, but also other projects that are related to what we were talking about today and tomorrow. So I'll just try here. All right. So the Natural Climate Solution for Mitigation. So in December 2020, the Natural Climate Solution Fund, the NCSF, was announced. It's a $5 billion over 10 years to reduce greenhouse gas emission by 7 to 10 megatons annually in 2030, and then 16 to 20 megatons of CO2 equivalent by 2050. So there's 3 programs within this larger fund. So there's the 2 Billion Trees program, which is led by Natural Resource Canada, the Agricultural Climate Solution Fund, which is led by AFC, and then the Nature Smart Climate Solution Fund, which is led by Environment and Climate Change Canada, which is the one that I'm working with. So the Nature Smart Climate Solution Fund, or NSCSF, is a $1.4 billion 10-year fund starting in 2021 to 2031, led by CCC, and it supports natural climate solutions projects with the objective of 5 to 7 million tons annually, so every year from 2030 to 2050. There's 3 main objectives to the fund. So the first one is to improve knowledge on natural climate solutions, for which is very relevant to what we've heard and will hear later today and tomorrow. The second one is to support projects through contribution agreements with the federal government on multiple objectives. So the first one is to avoiding conversion in different ecosystems. Second one is to improve our management practices, either through restoring ecosystems or improving our management, mainly in forests, but also on agricultural land. Then achieving biodiversity and human well-being co-benefits, also an objective that we have, and then also advance our commitment to reconciliation with Indigenous people. So we also have a separate program for funding Indigenous people-led projects. And then the third objective is to encourage the integration of all of our learnings, but also of nature climate solutions within policies and programs, whether new policies or improving the ones that exist at the federal, but also at other level, can be provincial, programmatic, or even at the organization level. So there's 3 funding streams that we have. The first one is the emission reduction activities, which is the biggest stream. And we're funding either site-based, so on-the-ground interventions, or policy projects to reduce conversion, increase restoration, or improve land management. Second one is the Indigenous-led Natural Climate Solutions, which is a different team than my team that's managing this one. And it's to support First Nation, Inuits, and Métis nations, communities, and organizations to build capacity and also lead their own on-the-ground programs for avoided conversion, restoration, or improving management. And then the last stream, and the one that's relevant for us today, is the Science and for Delivery and Accountability, which has been funding quite a few projects, and I see a lot of people involved in these projects here. So it's to improve the state of knowledge on natural climate solutions, identify opportunities where and how best to implement these initiatives, and also look at the potential co-benefits, mainly with biodiversity. So for our Science and for Delivery and Accountability funding, we have three main funding objectives. So the two first are really the ones that are mostly relevant for the work you're going to hear from John, but the third one is also relevant. So the first one is the baselines and projections. So we're trying to get more information on where we are at with the different ecosystems in terms of what's on the ground and what are the rates of change or the historical rates of change, but also use these with other components to create projections on what we expect land use to look like in the next 10 to 20 years to see where we should be working, but also help us assess the impact of our program in our projects. The third one is more of a short-term needs that we need to inform our implementations in the next few years. We have still funding coming in for projects, so we just had an intake that finished. So we're trying to get more short-term information to improve this. And then the last one is a long-term learning and knowledge hub. So last year, we funded 5 learning and knowledge hubs. There's 2 that are Indigenous-led and 3 that are on different ecosystems, one on forest, one on coastal wetland, and one on grassland. And these are more long-term research centers kind of programs where they do research on different aspects to better understand where and how to better implement nature climate solutions. And this is my last slide. So this is more to look at how what information we're looking at with our science research funding. We have targeted ecosystems. So we're looking at multiple ecosystems, coastal, wetlands. We work a little bit on cropland, especially for tree planting on agricultural land or avoiding the loss of trees, but also perennial, increasing the use of perennial land. Forest, so avoid conversion, enhanced management, freshwater mineral wetlands, which is the project you'll hear after by John and working with Irina and all the team. And then grassland and as well peatland, which I believe Roy is also on the call, which is also leading a research project for working with us. The categories of data that we're interested in. So as I mentioned, historical baselines, development or improving our historical baselines for rates of land use change. Then the projection, so developing a projection of land use that draw on historical data, but also looks at expected socioeconomic, behavioral, policy drivers of land use change in the future. The third one is also relevant, improving our greenhouse gases quantification. For our program, it's mainly looking at improving our monitoring, sometimes quantification of mitigation outcomes when we don't have enough data, but also assessing the leakage of implementing natural climate solutions and how different dynamics can affect the net benefit, which John has been working on. Well, the team, not just John, but I say Pat also, and they'll talk about it later. And then implementation in policy, so supporting the development of data that can inform implementation of NCSF, the direct and indirect improvement of policies, tools, and programs that can support NCS implementation throughout Canada. So this is it for me. I don't know if you have any questions on our program or our funding, or feel free to just contact us. I left the general email address for NSCSF, but also my email if you want to contact me, or you can just go through Irene if you want.
Well, first of all, thank you, Guillaume, for giving us an update and an overview of the program. I'd like to see if anybody has questions that they would like to ask Guillaume at this point. I guess I'll be brave enough and ask the question. How does the future look like with the uncertainty in the federal government right now?
Yeah, very uncertain, I guess. I don't know what I can say. Uh, I mean, we all know we're gonna have elections next month, so I think it's gonna depend on what happens there and what are the priorities for the next government. So, I mean, we keep on working our projects. I mean, our funding is continuing. We just finished an intake, so we're making the decisions now on where we're gonna be funding. So we're expecting that we're gonna continue with all of our projects. Yeah, so I think that's the only thing I can say right now. But yeah, there's a lot of uncertainties, and it's difficult for everyone, I think.
Well, I particularly appreciate your time today, given the stress that no doubt accompanies that uncertainty, and the work that you're doing. And again, just as I said at the beginning, you've really transformed this network by the opportunities provided with the Nature Smart Climate Solutions Fund and bringing on the sociologists and economists that are working on the project and all of the postdocs and students that work with them. So thank you.